Hi, everyone. This has been a crazy few weeks with what's happening on the political level, and it's been a crazy year with what's happening all around society. And I just wanted to give a few hopefully helpful words about how we can promote both truth within our relationships and peace, both peace within family and relationships, but also our inner peace as well. So, many of us have family and friends that we don't see eye to eye with on political events or the election or the protests around the country, around race and equality. We see them in starkly different ways, and it's tempting that we avoid those relationships because they're just they make us feel anxious, they make us feel depressed or angry, and we just don't have the emotional bandwidth for that, and we don't find them to be those to be helpful things to promote. So here's this is kind of a four-part mantra that I've found helpful as I approach relationships, approach talking with people that I know that I'm going to see things differently on. And here they are. They come in four little short phrases: show up, pay attention, speak your truth, don't get attached to the results. So let me just unpack that for us a little bit. We need to keep showing up in relationships. it's it's really easy in these days just to ghost on those that we disagree with, to just to drop out of their lives, or to stop returning phone calls, or not answering emails and texts. And as Christians, it's we need to remember that God keeps searching for us, even when we walk away. That's the picture of God and Adam in the garden, is that God was seeking out our first human ancestor. And so hopefully that kind of gives us some motivation and energy to not just leave relationships. Now that being said, you might need some space and some separation, and might be some people that you just can't engage with on these around these topics. It's too toxic of a brew in your life, or maybe they are just too toxic. You're like, I can't talk with them. But I don't think that should be our default mode. We need to keep showing up to the relationships, keep being present to people. Now, the second one is to pay attention. And by this, I mean that this is the way that we honor that relationship and the person, by seeing them, by affirming their importance to you. And so that means you're paying attention to what they're saying and to what they're feeling, and maybe you're even asking some questions. I mean, we have to realize that there's more to our relationships than the differences which have formed because of these events, or because of our um, or because of stands that we may have taken on the events. And so it's good to remember those good things. Remember the deeper part of that relationship, and pay attention to that. Pay attention, give attention to the things you remember, the things that are good about that relationship and about that other person, and pay attention to their thoughts and their opinions, but also to their need for grace and compassion. Everyone has that need, and we need to not forget that they're just like us in that matter. And then the third is speak your truth. It's just as like it's easy to ghost on a relationship and just to leave it. It's also easy just to be silent, and sometimes silence is the can be golden. It could be a good choice just to not engage in something that's going to be divisive for divisive sakes. But there's also times where we need to speak our truth. Um, that helps us to approach life honestly, and helps us have a sense of integrity and authenticity. And so we want to be able to speak our truth, not as debating points, but as a way of you being present to that person, to present to your loved one. That's part of you in your relationship are your opinions, and so and you can do this. We can speak our truth more easily when we see that person with love and compassion. And not only do you present yourself to them, you allow them the opportunity to see you for who you are. And so when it gets to this, I like to practice those phrases of well, I see it differently than that. This is how I see it. It's an I statement. It's not about them. You're not making a statement for the whole world. You're just saying how you see this event or this opinion or the argument that they're making. Well, this is how I see it, which means that you need to be able to define that for yourself beforehand. And when we can do that, when we can define ourselves and stay connected to someone, that's where deep connection and deep growth can happen. And now the fourth part, and this is really important, and it's probably the most difficult. So you've shown up, you've paid attention, you've spoken your truth, and now don't get attached to the results. That's where we lose our peace, is when when the person doesn't agree with us, or they argue back, or they turn away. We can lose our sense of peacefulness and lose our sense of ourselves, and so we can't get attached to the outcome of how we have done. I mean, you aren't in that relationship to win an argument or to prove you're right. You're in that relationship, I'm assuming, in order to love that person, or at least to like them, or at least to relate in a healthy manner to them. You're not in there to win arguments. That's not the point of a relationship. The point of a relationship is to be in a relationship with them, one that's healthy and that is mutual. When we have an unhealthy attachment to an argument, we can't love someone like Jesus loved. We're too concerned about winning. We're too concerned about proving our point. We're too concerned about them giving up and coming over to our side. And that's a move, that's a growth that is far beyond one argument. And it'll take more than just a couple of knockdown, drag out fights, and hopefully you don't have them. What that takes to reconcile is receiving people with compassion and mercy. And in order to do that, is you can't be attached to whether your argument wins the day. Remember that your worth is not attached to whether they agree with you or whether they see life like you do. And neither is their worth attached to whether they agree with you. We're worthy because God says we're worthy. So I hope this is a helpful mantra that maybe you can put into action as well over these next days and over these next months. And maybe it's going to be into years to heal the divisions that we are seeing in our country. So keep showing up, keep paying attention, keep speaking your truth, and don't get attached to the results. Leave those results to God and to the bigger flow of life. Good will happen. I'm convinced of that. That if we don't give up doing what's good and doing it right, that good will come from this. So, church, be at peace and speak the truth. And speak it with the intention of loving other people. Blessings to you.